All right, so we are running a little short on time, so I will try to go faster on this section. And this is more or less like a very general section on business etiquette. So we've spoken about our first impressions, we've spoken about our professional image. Now, what are some of the business etiquette? So again, I think we've been talking about putting things into context or perspective. So making sure that we, follow the set of rules, whether that's social or professional in the business setting. So these can be usually different from company to company, team to team, culture to culture. And it's our goal to sort of stay mutually respectful to everyone that we work with or we engage with in any sort of manner. Okay. So I'll quickly go over, different etiquettes across workplace, meeting, and messaging. So workplace etiquettes, again, these are all very generic etiquettes. So for example, don't have personal conversations at your desk because of course it's distracting, and don't gossip. So something we were all talking about earlier, I think, we don't want to engage in these sort of talks because if someone does overhear us, it sends a very negative impression of us. And making sure our phones are on silent and we are networking well with our colleagues. So when it comes to networking, my big advice is to sort of expand your network, whether you're, going to office, you say hi to people you see, you just maybe smile at them. It doesn't even have to be a full-on conversation, but making sure we are visible, right? Like in my company, that's something that we highly value as well. So being visible, being known so that, you can ask for help or someone else can ask for help if needed in any situation. And yeah, so those are some of the workplace etiquettes, quite general, quite straightforward, but these do leave a long-lasting impression. I've seen people, have alarms go off at 4 p.m. in the middle of the office, and everyone is just like turning back to their desk. So not very, like, nothing very bad, but I do think it sends not a very positive signal to the rest of the team, especially if someone's in a meeting or something. So yep, that's on the workplace etiquettes. As for the meeting etiquettes, the first point is exactly what Jian had mentioned earlier about being punctual. So especially if you're in your meetings or, you have some sort of coffee chat with someone, make sure you're on time. And if you can't be on time, just make sure you send them a heads up, right? Like even if you're going to be 5 minutes late, just let them know, you have something else that's running over. So sorry that you might need extra 5-10 minutes. In the meetings, try never to interrupt someone else or, talk over them. I do see people who try to stop others and, speak up over them to get the credit or to, sort of put the other person down. That's never ever respectful. And it's not like very constructive in the way you present yourself. So after the pandemic, we've all had like enough virtual meetings just like this one. So trying to think about, in the professional setting, it's always better to have your cameras on, especially if, you're working with someone senior, like your manager, your supervisor, your interviews, stuff like that. Just make sure your backgrounds are neat. You can just blur it out if it's not that neat, or just making sure of the basics. So I think everyone's a pro at this after living through 2 years of pandemic, but just things to still keep in mind as we go forward. Okay, so this was a last thing or a last small activity. I won't spend too much time because I do think there's a lot of obvious mistakes in this email. Does anyone want to give me a couple of things that stand out to you right away in this email? What are some of the problems that you noticed?